Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here again. A couple of weeks ago I did a tutorial for the track Rock Steady by Bad Company, and the response was pretty good, with a number of people saying, hey, do more Bad Company. So who am I to say no? So today, more Bad Company for you with a tutorial on how to play the track Rock and Roll Fantasy, a cut from the band's 1979 album Desolation Angels, and a track that would go on to become the band's last major hit before disbanding a couple of years later. Regardless, let's close in and learn how to play this one, shall we? All right then, Mick Ralph's Bad Company and Rock and Roll Fantasy from 1979. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, and this one starts like this. And then the trill. So this opening lick here is basically comprised of 3 licks, right? This being the first one. Just hammering on open D to the 2nd fret, picking it 3 times, pulling it back off to open D, and then grabbing the 2nd fret of the A string. Right? Second lick is almost the exact same thing, but on the A and the low E. Right? Hammering on open A onto the 2, picking it 3 times, pulling it back off to open A, and then grabbing the 3 of the low E. Right? So those are the first 2 licks. He has a phaser or a flanger, something like that, on this for the opening. And the 3rd lick is that right there. So hammering on open D onto the 2, picking it twice this time, and then hammering on open A to the 2nd fret, pulling it back off to open A, grabbing the 3rd fret of the low E, and then off to an E power chord. And letting it ring for 1 bar. Right, so that's the opening. 2, 3, 4, and then the trill. You're going to trill on the open D string in the 2nd fret for 3 full bars, right, before the first verse starts. So that's the opening. 1, 2, 3, 4, trill, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're into the first verse, and we're going to repeat that riff progression 3 times during the first verse. Grabbing a D power chord, sliding it into an E power chord, and then you're going to strike that E power chord quietly, palm muted 7 times. Then you're going to back it up to a B power chord, slide it into C, hit it twice. Do the same thing from C into D, and then the same thing from D back into E again to finish the riff. Three times. And the 3rd time you kind of hang in that E for about 1 bar and just strum it lightly, right? And then slide out of it, play this lick before jumping into the 2nd verse. Or actually before jumping into an E power chord and doing that trill again, right? Starting on the open A, going to hammer onto 2, double hit of the open D string, little hammer onto the 2 of the D, pull it back off to open D, grab that 2 of the A, into the E power chord. For 1 bar, and then 3 more bars of trill, right? And then we drop back into the 2nd verse. Hang in the E. Play that lick again. Same one we did earlier, and then we drop into the chorus. Back off to an E power chord after repeating that chorus twice. So we're dropping into a C chord here. We're just going to ride down the A, D, and the G string. And then you're going to drop off to an A power chord here, ride down the A, D, and the G string as well. Then you're going to drop into a G, and you're going to ride down the bottom 4 strings, skipping over the A string. Right? You're just hitting the low E, the D, and the G. Then you're going to drop into a D, you're going to strike the D string, G string, skip over the B string, catch the top 2 strings on the upstroke. Kind of like that, right? And then we drop into this. Just an A bar chord here at the 2nd fret. Just going to ride down the 4 middle strings, and when you get to the B string, you're going to be on the sus here at the 3rd fret. And then you're going to back it off to the 2. This little melody that he's playing here, right, just 3 off to 2 of the B, and then 4 of the G back to the 2 twice, right? But we're pedaling off this 2nd fret of the D string that we're holding in this bar between each one of those notes. Kind of like that, right? And then you repeat C to A, G to D. The second time you go to D, you're going to drop onto the sus. Kind of like strum the chord. Drop onto the sus and back off again, right? Before dropping into that A melody. And then back off to an E power chord, let it ring for 1 full bar, and then we drop into the solo. So that is the chorus, nice and slow. Ring for 1 bar, and then we're into the very easy guitar solo. It goes something like this. All going on the open A, open D, 2nd fret of the A, 2 and 4 of the D. Starting on the 4 of the D, 4 half-step bends. If you grab some little pinch harmonics in there, great. And then the 4th bend, you're going to release off to 2. And then just off to open D, back onto that 2 for a couple of hits. And then we're going to do this. Just hammering on open A to 2, open D to 2, right? Back into those bends on the 4 again, off to 2, and then just open D, 2, 4, open D, 2, right? Play this lick again, just hammering on open A to 2, open D to 2, 4 more bends, open D, on to 2, play this lick again, the hammer-ons right onto the 2s, and then the final one, there's a little variation. Kind of rushes the end there. We're going to do 4 more bends, and when you go off to 2, you're immediately going to go off to open D, and then 2, 4, open 2, right? And that's the solo. To another chorus. Off to an E, let it ring for 1 bar, 3 more bars of trill, right? And then we're into the 3rd verse, which we've already learned. Into the final chorus, which we've already learned. We're going to double up the chorus at the end, and at the very end of the track, when we drop into this A power chord here, and play that melody, we're going to repeat it 6 times. The first 3 times are going to be exactly the same melody that we're already playing. And then he mixes it up for the final 3 and plays this. So basically what he's doing is he's riding down that A chord, right? Dropping onto the 3, off to the 2, and then the melody is this. 2 of the high E, up to the 5 of the B, 2 onto 3 of the B, and then onto the 4 of the G. Each time bouncing off that 2 of the D, right? At the end, just an A chord, and that is it. And that is how you play Rock and Roll Fantasy by Mick Ralphs and Bad Company. Certainly hope you enjoyed the tutorial, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, wherever that may find you these days, and we will see you next time. Cheers.